All right, good morning. So remember, do your vocab. It's due on Friday. Some of you haven't done it, some of you have. It's not due till Friday. But more importantly, you need to get done with this India coronavirus quiz that a lot of you haven't done. That's due probably after you're watching it. I mean, before you're watching this, anyways. So make sure you go and log on to this India coronavirus thing. You got to get that done. You do not want to fall behind. I know you're going to have a lot of work in other classes, trying to limit our work in this class, but most of my assignments you can get done in just a very short amount of time. So log on, get it done so you don't have to make it up. So we'll go over just one section of notes today. Then we'll have a little quiz at the end, just 25 1 and 2 quiz. It's 10 questions matching 5 and 5. Open book, open notes. All these answers are in the notes. If you watch the notes, you don't even have to look at your book. Yeah, so let's look at this really quick. So we're going to talk about Pakistan and Bangladesh. For the rest of this section, I know last section was India by itself. For the rest of this section, it groups up countries that are similar together. So it groups up Pakistan and Bangladesh in this section. Next section is Nepal and Bhutan. And the next section after that is Sri Lanka and the Maldives. It groups them because they're very similar in a lot of aspects. So we'll talk about those ways here. But Pakistan and Bangladesh. So I mentioned this the other day, but the Indus Valley civilization was right around this Indus River. Here's India, right here. Okay, here's Pakistan over here. This Indus River flows right through there. Okay, gets its start in the Himalayas, flows right down through here through the far eastern side of Pakistan. So here's India, here's Pakistan. So this was actually the largest of the world's first civilizations. Remember I told you about the Nile, Mesopotamia with the Tigris and Euphrates, this one, and a couple of rivers in China. This was the largest, very advanced, began around 2500 BC. It's not the oldest, but it was the largest. A lot of people moved here and lived here. They had really well-planned cities that had sewers, built-in sewers. They had, they one of their big cities was like multi-storied buildings that was angled the right way that it would catch those monsoon winds and like provide basically air conditioning. The windows and things were faced the correct direction to catch those winds and make it have an air conditioning basically in the buildings, a pre-existing form of it. Just the wind would cool it down. So it went around for about 1,000 years, which in the grand scheme of things doesn't seem like a while, but the United States is only 250 years old. So they were in power for about 1,000 years. So it ended around 200 or 1500 BC. Uh, so yeah, after this, the those empires that conquered India, the Mughal and Gupta and other empires conquered this area as well. This was actually part of India at one point, but then when the British came in, they divided it up after the Raj rule. Raj was the British people ruling India and its territories. Britain divided up India into a Hindu nation, which is India, and into a Muslim nation, which they called East Pakistan and West Pakistan. So you had East Pakistan on this side, and this is West Pakistan. And so you had a lot of fighting happening right after this. About 1 million people died because you had a lot of Hindus and Muslims fighting each other for territory and lands. A lot of the Hindu people from the Pakistan and East Pakistan went and moved into India. You had a lot of Muslim people in India move out of India and move into East and West Pakistan. And so just a lot of trying to gathering for territories, a lot of violence between the Hindus and Muslims. Like I said, about 1 million people died, about 10 million were just switching territories. You had a lot of Muslims going here, a lot of Hindus moving here. East Pakistan, eventually, way over here, East Pakistan wanted independence from West Pakistan. And they're like, look, guys, you're over 1,500 miles away from us, and yet you're governing us. We want our own government. So they didn't. West Pakistan obviously didn't want to give up territory, but eventually they did because they fought a war, a civil war, and they annexed themselves and in 1972 became Bangladesh here. So you have this Bangladesh. So now it's Pakistan and Bangladesh instead of West Pakistan and East Pakistan. Used to be one country, now it's two separate countries, but they're still mostly Muslim even today. Mostly Muslim in both these countries. Look at this territory right here. This is called the Kashmir Territory. It's at the top of India. This Kashmir Territory at the top of India is both claimed by uh, Pakistan and India. Both of them claim it, want that territory for their own, and so they fight over this territory right up here. And so uh, they fight over it because technically it is part of India, but Pakistan doesn't recognize that, and so they fight. And there's a lot of fighting going on in this territory. If you remember back in that number of nuclear bombs that have been going off that we watched when we were talking about Russia, that one or two that India blew up was to show Pakistan, hey, look, we have nuclear bombs. We're not afraid to use it if you come in and try and take our territory. So they both fight over this Kashmir territory. They both have very corrupt governments, or have had corrupt governments. They go through periods of corrupt governments with military rule for a while, and then democratic elections, and then go back to corrupt military governments. So they governments are trying to get better, but Pakistan's more corrupt than Bangladesh. But even Bangladesh's government's has been a little corrupt. Both have women prime ministers, which is very rare considering they're Muslim nations. Especially Pakistan's a very strict form of Muslim, or has been a very strict form of Muslim that kind of keeps the women at home. But uh, they both have women prime ministers. Both have really fast growing populations, just like India. They have really fast growing populations, but they are also really, really poor. And they live in poverty because most of them are farmers. So when most of them are farmers, then remember that means you're probably a third world country. You have big families to help work on the farms. And if you go back and remember back when we talked about India with the Green Revolution, they're trying to teach these people how to farm better to get higher crops and help the earth. But a lot of times these people want to do it the old way that they've been doing it for a lot of their life. And so their farming is not as profitable as it can be. Neither one of them are very much industrialized. You can see most of them are still agriculture. Agriculture here. And then you have, wait for my sign to disappear. Some of them are industry and services. Pakistan's got a little bit more services than Bangladesh does, but very, very much still agriculture based. Microcredit loans are important in Bangladesh. Microcredit loans are very small loans that businesses or banks give out because even though it's a very small loan to a bank, to these people who are very poor, it's a lot, and it helps them able to start businesses, clothing businesses, small business besides farming to help kind of boost their economy. So they give very small loans to entrepreneurs to help start businesses. Today, Pakistan and Bangladesh, like I said, most are Muslim. Pakistan's a more strict form of Islam than Bangladesh is. Women are still have to wear head coverings all the time in Pakistan when they go out of the house. Bangladesh, that's not really as true. Pakistan is more diverse. Pakistan has about 6 different ethnic groups that live in Pakistan. Bangladesh is mostly one, Bengali. That's just one type of ethnic group that lives there. And that's it. So after this, after you listen to the notes, if you are listening to your notes and after you do this assignment, if you'll comment underneath this assignment the word, what word do we want to do? Microcredit right here. If you will send me this word, microcredit, and then I'll give you 10 extra bonus points on your assignment, this quiz thing. If you're watching the notes, good for you. But take this quiz I have a vocab quiz next class. And yeah, that's about it. If you have any questions, let me know. Call, email, send a text, question on Google Classroom, whatever you need to do.